Hi, my name is Bryan Stevenson, and I am delighted to talk about the extraordinary work of the Alabama Law Foundation. Over 35 years ago, I came to the state of Alabama because there was a crisis in meeting the legal needs of people who had been sentenced to death. People were literally dying for legal assistance. We did not have a statewide public defender system in this state. There was no statewide appellate defender. There were all kinds of challenges in meeting the legal needs of the poor. There were caps on compensation that limited the amount of money that an attorney could be paid to represent even someone facing the death penalty to less than $1,000 per case. That meant that convictions were often wrongful, unreliable, sentences were not fair and just. And so we set out to try to meet the legal needs of this growing population of people who had been condemned. We could not find resources. We could not find a lot of partners in those days. It just wasn't very popular to provide aid to people who were representing the disfavored, the marginalized, in many places, the hated, the people whose access to court is the most vital, but oftentimes the most difficult. The Alabama Law Foundation emerged as an institution created by lawyers across the state who just believe that providing justice to the needy, providing justice to those who struggle and are excluded is the most important thing we can do as a profession. I often believe that we're going to be judged not by how well we treat the rich and the powerful and the privileged. I think we're going to be judged by how we treat the poor, the neglected, the disfavored. That's the space where rights makes the most difference, where justice makes the most difference, where law can be the most essential. I'm a product of Brown versus Board of Education. I grew up in a community where Black children could not attend the public schools. In my county, there were no high schools for Black people when my dad was a teenager. And then lawyers came into the community and made them open up the public school. They enforced that Supreme Court ruling. And because of that, I got to go to high school, I got to go to college, I got to go to law school. I wouldn't be making this recording if lawyers hadn't committed to providing pro bono services to poor people, marginalized people like the people I grew up with. And that's why I believe that the work of the foundation is so urgent, is so essential. The strength of our democracy, the strength of our society is going to depend on the way in which we make access to courts available to everyone. And so the Alabama Law Foundation for many decades now has taken the great effort to find organizations, to find institutions that need assistance so that this work can carry on. I'm proud of the work we've been able to do with lawyers all across the state, creating resources, writing manuals, providing aid to lawyers to uplift justice, to uplift the reliability of our systems. I think we all want to have a justice system we can be proud of. And sometimes that can't happen unless generous people, unless committed people provide the resources and the means to allow justice to be accessible to everyone. The Alabama Law Foundation has harnessed these resources and done extraordinary work. We are still not clear. We are still not at the moment or at the place where we can say that there's no need for the Alabama Law Foundation. Too often I read transcripts, I look in cases, and I'm forced to wrestle with this idea that there are occasions when our system can treat you better if you're rich and guilty than if you're poor and innocent. And that means that there has to be some correction. We have to do something to make sure that equality and justice is available to everyone. That's what the Alabama Law Foundation is all about. And I hope you will continue to support them. I hope you will see the value of what they do. At this time when there's so much division, so much polarization, so much fear and anger, it's going to be the rule of law. It's going to be those people who stand up for justice, who stand up for the basic rights that we've all committed to, who defend and enforce the Constitution that will allow us to get through any dark moment, any conflicted moment. And I believe that with the Alabama Law Foundation in this state, we can meet those challenges. I am thrilled that they continue to do the work that they do. I'm honored to be one of the recipients of the support they provided to the Equal Justice Initiative. And I hope all of us can find ways to continue this incredibly important work so that no one who is in crisis, no one who needs access to the courts, no one who's vulnerable, no one who's poor and marginalized has to suffer because we can't provide the means and resources to meet their legal needs. Thank you, Alabama Law Foundation, for the work you've done, not just for us, but for everyone who is in need, everyone who's vulnerable, everyone who deserves justice.